There we go. All right, welcome everyone. This is part of Startup Grind workshop series. I'm Jason Krause, chapter director of Startup Grind Boston. We have a few other chapters we've partnered up with for this event as well, from Chicago, Grand Rapids, New York, and beyond. And really excited for the chat and workshop today with Kara Kennedy from HubSpot for Startups. We're going to give it a couple minutes here, but as we kick off and get started, just love to have everybody introduce themselves in the chat, share, where you're from, like if you're a startup founder, if you work for, if you work for a company, if you advise ventures, would love to have everybody kind of introduce themselves in the chat. Just a quick background on Startup Grind if you're not familiar as well. So we're a global entrepreneurship community, started out in Silicon Valley, and spread to 200 different chapters around the world. We all host local in-person and virtual events, and then we come together for big conferences like the Startup Grind Global Conference and Silicon Valley every year. And then we also do cross-chapter collaborations as well, like this virtual event, and we had global pitch battle and pitch event and other opportunities we all work together on throughout the year. Excited to have everybody here from Boston chapter and beyond, and looking forward to today's session. The way it's going to work is I'm going to hand it over to Kara in a second. We can use the chat box for any questions, anything that's top of your mind as we go through this presentation, and then, save some additional time for questions towards the end as well. And Kara, always love working with you. Appreciated your last workshop with us and got a lot of great feedback from the community. We are recording this as well. It'll go back up on our YouTube channel, and we'll send the recording out to everyone after as well. But excited to turn it over to you to kick things off today.
Thanks, Jason. And a pleasure to work with you too. I know you're under pressure there. You have a new bambina in the house. So happy to kick off and take over, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm not sure if you were on the first session we had, but today's session is going to be extremely practical, and it's definitely built for one group specifically, and that's founders who are tired of doing more and essentially getting less for their marketing. Okay, so very welcome to the call. And I suppose today we just want to set the scene. Let's be honest, I suppose the playbook that got you to this point may not get you to the next stage. So again, we're building companies in an era where AI isn't just a buzzword, it's essentially a growth engine. So, we know how to use it, but how do we get ahead? Okay, so let's kick off this session. A second. And the title is very simple: From Search Crisis to AI Success, Marketing Tactics That Convert. So we can call it a masterclass or simply a collab between Startup Grind and HubSpot. But today we really want to pull back the curtain and show you how teams are turning, particularly HubSpot, which I have experience with, visibility into what we call velocity. Okay, how clicks can actually be turned into customers. And let's look at theory, but not for theory's sake. So today's session is, I hope, very practical. And my goal is to walk you through strategies that you can implement right now, even with a lean team. So even if you feel like, you're, like a lot of people duct taping your marketing together, let's go through what we're going to cover today. So again, the general overview, similar to last time, quick warm up, search. We're going to talk about crisis, and then we're going to talk about how you can, have a few practical wins. Okay, so let's start. Today, we're going to keep it focused again. We're going to give a prize. It's a bit different today. We're going to actually give a Brad Feld signed copy of The Power of Mentorship. No HubSpot swag this week, but we're going to have a few questions all the way through, and the winner will receive a copy of this. Okay, so first question for everybody on the call. If you could have any superpower to fix one startup challenge, what would it be? So again, this is just to get a gauge. Amy, John, Edka, Maria, Enya, Manjo, Paul, welcome to the call. Let's kick things off. Any idea? If you could have any superpower to change or fix one startup challenge, what would it be? Funding, Enja. If I had a superpower, it would be to be onboarding users without marketing. Ding, I'm in there for that. Anything else? And usually we focus on sales, but there is a big push towards marketing at the moment, hence the conversation today. More money, more time, more than 24 hours in the day. Excellent. Paul is coming in at project management and priority management. Nice, Paul. I feel you. At the moment, I feel like just like your head goes into different, like you have a million tabs open and your attention span is less and less. More money, more focus, like Paul. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Again, we've only 45 minutes today, so let's get the most out of it. How would you describe your team's current marketing climate in the middle of a search crisis or heading toward AI-powered sunshine? So which stage are you at? Amy, big search engine crisis, and I'm not even marketing. Maria, a lot of fog as to what's happening. Okay. On fire, Manuel, not in the good way or the bad way, in the middle. Anybody else? We're not marketing yet, but we're trying to figure out our best channels for our ICP. Nice. We did a good conversation about that last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, probably worth a watch. Very disorganized, Paul. I wouldn't feel hard for that. In HubSpot, we always say, and we're quite a big company now, we've gone IPO, we used to say, get it 60% done, get it out the door, and make it better. Amy, I do minimum marketing, would like to do more. Okay, so people are putting themselves under a lot of pressure. So hopefully today will support you a bit. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's do this, guys. So starting a company has never been easier. Scaling a company has never been harder. So we brought this to the forefront on the last call. I'm going to ask you the question again. Do you agree or disagree? So Amy agrees. Annie agrees. Manuel agrees. Paul agrees. Okay, everybody's in agreement. Okay, again, we're just setting the scene. Lots of options out there. We discussed this on the last conversation. Because of these options, as one said, you may feel disorganized. So you're starting to scale your business. Good news, great news. You can get going. You have plenty of tools to choose from. But how do you get started correctly? Again, we are reiterating the scene to kick off with the big one, which is what's changing. I'm going to put this to you guys again. What are the 6 brands in front of you? What's their commonality? So I think, yeah, they're all software as a service. They're on the subscription-based model. Excellent, Maria. Amy, any go there? Paul? Jason knows the answer. He's going in. I thought you were looking after the baby, Jason. Yes, Jason, they're all under 10 years old. They're all billion-dollar companies. They've all gone IPO. And they all put the customer at the center. Okay, so we're going to talk about this today, not from a sales perspective, but from a marketing perspective. So this is why it leads into part 2. Okay, so what are we talking about? So again, let's kick off with the big one. The intro, how inbound marketing is being disrupted, how to optimize your content for these AI engines, and I suppose a quick Q&A session, but feel free to ask all the way through. So I suppose, remember, as we discussed in the last call, the internet was basically, I don't know, a giant library, and SEO was like waving your hand going, pick me, pick me. The more content, the more relevant content. Life was probably simpler. Buyers searched, they got a list of links, and hopefully, your website got tracked. somewhere in page 1. We were always told if you wanted to hide a dead body, put it on page 2. And the playbook, we called it inbound marketing. It worked, and I think HubSpot literally wrote it and coined it. But that playbook, and how do I say it gently, is, I don't know, maybe it's the avocado that you keep in your fridge that one day, you're going to use it again. But no, it's bad. It's not being used anymore. So is everybody familiar with inbound marketing? Just put a yes or a no into the chat. Let's just see again so we don't get repetitive. Perfect. Maria, yes. Paul, yes. Amy, yes. Fantastic. Okay, so here's what changed. So like when buyers search today, as you can see here, you've got 2 examples. They're not getting, the top line blue links. AI engines, Google, ChatGPT, Perplexity, I don't know, Claude, you name it, are compiling information for them to give you one single answer, which is great. So instead of, like, as you can see here, 10 different articles, it's now, here's the answer, you're welcome. Okay, so the user, we're not really clicking anything, and the journey ends right at the search box. Is everybody familiar with this, guys? Yeah. So we have 100% yes into the chat. So for founders, this means like our old measurement metrics, the traffic, the clicks, the sessions, they're not helpful. It's like tracking, I don't know, footsteps while people are floating, for example. Sorry. So again, how do we use this? We looked at this slide on the last call in relation to sales, but now in terms of like marketing, the ChatGPT traffic projection, and I would gather a guess that this is going to happen before 2028. And this is a fun stat that'll either like ruin your day or motivate you. Like ChatGPT is projected to surpass Google by 2028. So the world's largest search engine is essentially about to be overtaken by the world's fastest, I don't know, study partner, study buddy. So what's the opportunity for founders? Google, as we said in our sign up landing page, the search is falling off the face of a cliff. How do founders, I suppose, adapt faster and get ahead? Like we did with inbound, how do we get ahead of big legacy brands? Okay. So again, AIOs show up on nearly 6 out of 10 searches. Does everybody know what an AIO is? So again, if you've Googled anything recently and felt, I don't know, personally attacked by the giant AI answer box at the top, this is the future. So the AI overview is the AIO, appears in 60% of searches. And they cut click-through rates in half. So yeah, you can rank number 1 and it's still traffic, but it's the equivalent, again, I don't need to do the maths, of thoughts and prayers, we'll say. Okay. So again, we're setting the scene. I'm creating the pain funnel essentially. But as we see here, and this is probably one of my favorite visuals, like the impressions are going up, again, opportunity, and the clicks are going down. We call it like the classic alligator's mouth. So has anybody seen this image before? Let's put a yes or the no in the chat. Okay, Amy, straight off the bat. Anja, no. Yes. Maria, yes. No. And that's okay. I mean, a lot of people at this stage are probably very heavily focused on sales, which is excellent. But founders at this moment, you're like, okay, we're looking at Google Analytics and go, whoa, okay, visibility is up, rock and roll. And the investor goes, well, so where are the leads? Where are the leads? And you go, oh, well, funny story. So again, I mean, how do we get the opportunity in this? Okay. Okay, so this is your AI traffic engine. So here's the mindset shift. AI engines aren't an SEO threat, they're a new channel. And this is where we see the opportunity. Just like social was a new channel, just like email was a new channel. We all remember, Amazon, Uber, we know these companies. At HubSpot, I suppose you have to move fast. Like I said, get it 60% done, get it out the door. But we literally tracked AI engine traffic straight away because it was real and it was growing fast. And early movers get the advantage, probably an unfair advantage. So, again, this is a slide we had in the last call, but we would say welcome to AEO, which is Answer Engine Optimization. So, has anybody ever heard of AEO? Just put a yes or no in the chat. So, SEO, we're probably familiar with. And if you're not, don't worry about it. So, again, AEO is very much okay. Let me just take a step back. Does everybody know SEO, Site Engine Optimization? Has anybody had the beauty of interacting with that in the past? Paul, I'm surprised. I thought you were solely sales focused. Okay, so we're very ahead here. Jason, hands up. Yeah, and I remember my internship 15 years ago, like, generating the keywords for Google in loads of variations, putting them on Google Ads. And it was interesting, but it was like, please rank my blog post. And this is how I'm going to do it. Where AO is like, please put my brand inside the answer, if that makes sense. Okay. So it's kind of like, I don't know, a glow up is something I heard. It's like a glow up for SEO if you're like not taking things too seriously. So essentially, like, and we discussed this in the last call, like the sales journey is the same, the buyer behavior is the same. So like the journey is the same, like Google, your blog, consider, demo, buy. But now it's like AI chat, TikTok, oh nice, Reddit, back to AI, peer review, maybe the website, buy. Okay. So has anybody on the call bought something big recently? And how do they locate it? Did you ask ChatGPT to give you a comparison? Jason, you must have bought some baby material recently. Where you like, did you get the Bugaboo? Did you get the Nuna? Did you get the?
Yeah, actually, we did ask about the differences between two car seats that sounded pretty similar, and had ChatGPT tell us the differences.
Nice. And do you mind me asking which one you chose?
Well, we already decided on the brand. It was just which product. Something, it was like there was one that was called Air and one that was Air RX, and like it didn't really seem like a big difference, but ChatGPT was able to tell us, what the difference between them was.
Nice. And you chose the brand based on a reference from a friend?
It's, yeah, reference and Instagram, TikToks, things like that as well.
Yeah. So thank you, Jason. You've highlighted basically how buyer behavior has changed. So again, Amy's put in, trying to buy a car. I'm using chat to decide what the best fit for me. Someone I know is buying a startup that actually matches people's cars. It's called Quarby.com. Thanks for advertising that, Amy. And sorry, Annie's back into Amy. Great. ChatGPT helped me decipher all the different models for our particular brand. It's so confusing. Okay. Okay. So this is just like, okay, thanks for this, guys. So this is very much AI chat, like Jason said, maybe TikTok, Reddit, Instagram, back to AI, peer review, friend recommendation, maybe to the website, ding, buy. And that's where the finish line is, not just at the website. Websites used to be the start. Now, essentially, they're the finish line. So the good news is visitors from AI will convert 3x times faster. We'll send it on to you, Paul. Don't worry. Thank you for telling us. We'll convert 3x times faster and bring in more revenue. Okay. So again, not to be repetitive, but we would say again, the funnel is broken. So in short, awareness is scattered, consideration is kind of happening off your website, and conversion is AI assisted. So the old funnel is not funneling anymore. Has anybody seen this, Amy, from your experience? Maria, yes. So we need to build a new one. Has anybody seen this? I don't know how long guys have been in the tube. Manuel, yes. So a few yeses in there. Jason's shaking his head. Annie's giving me a yes. Okay, so loop. Again, enter loop marketing. This is something we brought up in the last conversation. Is everybody familiar with loop? If you're not, no sweat. It's just not the funnel. It's just not straight line. It's a cycle. Okay. So any nice, you're ahead of the game, any. So again, it's designed for humans. It's AI together instead of humans sweating while AI has all the fun. So it's designed for humans plus AI together instead of AI on its own. So today we're meant to have Rory, but Rory is not available for today's conversation, but he will follow up with one-to-one chats. And he usually interrupts me halfway through these conversations. So it might be a good thing, but I'm going to continue on for him. Okay. And we've had these calls before. But like we said, the loop in action, not going into huge detail, but it has 4 stages. Express, which I would say, in my own words, nail your voice, and I suppose POV before AI touches anything. Otherwise, I suppose AI will produce what it wants. You've got tailor, which is personalized for customers at scale. Amplify, which means meet your buyers where they actually are. So I think this is something that Maria mentioned, is like, are they living on Reddit? Are they living on Instagram? Are they living on Tumblr, for example? Evolve, iterate constantly with AI insights. So again, 60% done, get it out the door. So this is essentially the new growth engine. So let's talk a bit deeper. Any questions at this stage? Okay. Nice. Express, tailor, amplify. Can you share the loop again? Oh, sorry. We will send the presentation to you, Amy, regardless. Okay. So again, like Jason said, express is where you define your brand, your ICP, your tone, everything humans care about. And AI kind of will mess it up without context. That's why it's very important, Amy, that you kind of can build out your ICP correctly based on some data that you've had. So AI is fast, but without direction, as we all know, and somebody said they're confused, it is confidently it can generate nonsense confidently. So don't let it, okay? So start with your ICP. We discussed this on the last call, which is, don't fluff the words. Don't be like, okay, Sarah is 40, she loves chai lattes. Think about real ICPs. So think about keyword research, as you can see here. Think about subreddit digging. Think about customer transcripts, sales calls. So listen to what customers are actually saying, not what they wish was said. So again, persona mapping is vital. As you can see here, a practical example, marketing manager. We looked at Marketing Mary last month, 200-person logistics company. Okay, so let's reduce this a bit. So awareness, how do I get leads with no team? Consideration, best tools for logistics in email automation. Decision, how does HubSpot integrate with freight software? If you answer each stage, you win each stage. Okay, so that part hasn't changed. So if you answer each stage, you win at each stage. So if you provide Amy, or if you provide Maria, whoever the marketing manager is, Marketing Mary, with the answer to her question, you're actually winning at each stage. So again, let's get to the next stage. So we looked at express, evolve, and let's go to amplify. So in amplify, I suppose your job is to stop creating a content in a vacuum. So you need to start like in the past, we used to distribute almost manically, like the more content, the better, the blog, the social. So your blog won't solve your problem at this stage. Your customers are everywhere, probably except for the blog and except for the website, unfortunately. So we need to think about AEO. So let's define it really clearly. So AEO I suppose, is making your brand appear, like we said, inside AI answers, not just below them. So again, like we said, SEO, rank my link, AEO, quote my insight. Does anyone have any questions on that? So SEO, rank my link, AEO, quote my insight. So again, not rocket science, but let's just keep it simple, okay? And let's keep it practical. So the key difference, and I think everybody on the call told me that they knew what SEO was. So SEO rewards backlinks. We remember this. Oh my gosh, remember tagging the 5 keyword names in the 5 key areas, like the title, the subject, the URL. So it rewarded you using the keyword in key areas, where AEO rewards being cited across multiple sources: Reddit, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Instagram. SEO, again, like we said, rewarded keywords. Thank you, Cara, for putting your keyword in the call to action, the URL, blah, blah, blah. AEO rewards right now clear answer first phrasing. So again, giving you the solution to the problem. And SEO was about visibility, whereas AEO is about conversion. Okay, so let's how can we deal with this? So again, what is it and how do we do it? Okay, so I suppose you've got the AEO grader, which I would take a snapshot of immediately, hubspot.com, AEO grader. And I suppose if you want to know how you're showing up in AE answers right now, use the AEO grader. So it's like a report card for your AI visibility. No, I don't know. Sorry, this sounds no retentions, just essentially opportunities. Okay. So again, we've only 15 minutes left. So how do we maximize this? So the first steps of AEO tactics. 3 tactics that are important: hyper personalization, passage based optimization, there's a mouthful, and moving down the funnel. Okay, let's just give us a broad range of what these are actually doable, even if your team is of one with a full-time job, a side hustle, and children and a caffeine dependency. You can get these done essentially. Okay, so hyper personalization is for AI engines that best, I suppose, answer. I suppose this one is for AI engines understanding the best answer depends on who is asking. So AI knows the location, the history, the preferences. So if your content essentially needs versions that serve more and different contexts, you'll win. Okay, we're going to dig a bit deeper into this in a few minutes. So again, as you can see, don't create one giant article like we used to do in the past with cluster content, e.g., how do we generate leads, create a cluster, how to generate leads in logistics, in B2B, in B2C, in the UK, with no team, with AI. That's how you win personalization. So again, don't create one giant article, create cluster content. So again, if you're not familiar with cluster content, I recommend you Google it, but it's creating snapshots of a cluster which will essentially give you that leverage to get boosted in your AI search. And that's how you could win personalization. So again, the same goes for a B2B question. Let's give you an example. How do I prioritize sales leads, best qualification methods, comparison posts, industry specific, feature specific, and that's what AI will pull from. So the takeaway there is cluster content and how to apply hyper personalization. Again, whether you're B2B, there's 2 practical tools which we discussed, which are Kaphoria and Dejan's fan out tool. So here are the 2 options. Any questions on that? Amy, Maria? So yeah, to answer Manuel's question, that prevents you from sharing like a blank Google Doc saying I already wrote about those leads. That'll give you an exact layout in terms of tools to show you what's working, what's not. Okay, let's go to the next one. So passage-based optimization. Oof. So this isn't about more content, it's about clearer content. So make sure your content is easy, simple conversational language for AI to read and extract. Okay, so this is like when you're, if you're learning Spanish, you can only speak in a certain simplified conversational method, and this is really important. So subject, predict, object, answer first, phrasing. So this, I suppose, I think this is called semantic triplets. This basically is like content algebra. Subject, predict, object. So HubSpot CRM is the best tool for scaling a small team. So this is short, clear, and extractable for AI. So it puts the answer first. It's not buried 8 paragraphs deep in like we said, a page to Google or like a murder mystery reveal. Like AI loves clarity. Humans love speed. So that's a win-win. Okay. So let's move down the funnel. So AI search is a conversation, not a one and done story query. So your content should answer the initial question and then kind of anticipate 5 questions next, because they're the prompts. Okay, so again, simple conversational language, best B2B tools, cheaper ways, which CRM, HubSpot versus competitors. So if you create content that guides the conversation, you'll shape the journey. So down the funnel, as you can see the example here, have a quick look just to understand all this. Where are we supposed to be posting these blogs? Okay, so great question, Annie. So this is a big thing. So with the fact that like AI has taken over search, and we discussed this in the first call, like we would like make sure you have a huge variety of distribution channels. Like in HubSpot, we no longer rely on just blogging like we did in the past. We no longer rely on just email like we did in the past. Like I said in the previous call, like I can comfortably buy my pension on Instagram. We said in the call that, people are using different types of paid advertising. Bing, Google Ads, you can use Tumblr. There's so many different places where people are living, and you need to utilize those. So again, bring it back to the buyer persona, like people who look at, Red Bull ads are probably not looking at white papers. They're probably looking at video. So you think about, people's interests and what they're comfortable with, and you live there essentially. So Annie, maybe put in what your product is. We have an understanding.
And so in your image here, the goal is to be like that link that pops up at the end of the AI overview.
Yes.
Perfect.
Exactly. And that's by making sure that you have multiple distribution channels and that you're, I suppose, giving the answer. I would use the AEO grader so you actually know what is actually showing up in AI answers, so you can just copy it and make it better and see the opportunities. And again, like we said, the best answer is dependent on who's asking. We'll send these links, these slides, but if somebody's asking from a Reddit website with 150 comments, that gives you greater leverage than your blog, for example. We can do a follow-up call after this. How to generate the best B2B leads. You've got your search, you rephrase original search. So again, use those 2 practical tools to find out where people are living, Kafora and Dejan's fan out tool. And then think about that answer first structure and conversational language. So here's what we've seen at HubSpot. Okay, so I suppose by implementing all of these tactics, our AI visibility is now number one inside AI engines. Our AI traffic is rising, and our AI leads are at that number. They're converting 3 times faster. So AI users, as you know, because you've all bought, most of the people on the call using like an AI tool, they have higher intent. So it's basically the audience we've always wanted, but we couldn't find. So how do we get found there? So again, let's reframe this slightly. We've got the slide. So that projection about ChatGPT surpassing Google, that can be an opportunity. By starting AEO now, you can get ahead while everybody else is still arguing about, I don't know, whether AI counts as real search, for example. Okay. So again, that's kind of my session. We're going to move on to a Q&A now. So any questions, feel free to ask. But what I would say to you is we'll follow up with a 15-minute conversation, the recording and the deck. And anything you thought was relevant today, take it, use it, execute it. And anything you felt that wasn't, leave it here. Okay. So again, Jason, I don't think we can do breakout rooms, so we might skip this. I'm happy to go to any questions.
Perfect. Yeah. No, great presentation. I just took the, or let me share it for everyone too. I just took the HubSpot AEO grader as well, and yeah, really interesting results. And yeah, great tool. I like the categories it broke down. So, yeah, happy to take any other questions from the group here. Oh, what's one thing? Yeah, from Amy. What's one thing to do to get started on this?
Yeah,
And
no.
Amy had a similar question.
So I'd say, Amy, I just keep it bread and butter, as we say in Ireland. I just keep it to the basics. Nail down your ICP, everything ICP, your ideal persona, your ideal client, and then maybe generate a negative persona, someone you don't want to sell to. So there's a tool for that as well, Amy, make my persona. And I think that's probably relevant to everybody. And it's like what we said, it's not just 20-year-old Mel who likes cha lattes. There's a bit more to it. And here's the link. But I would say, like, a lot of what you know, Amy, hasn't changed. Like, how to generate traffic hasn't changed. It's understanding who your persona is, what they're looking for, and where they're living. That's still the same. It's just the way it's happening is slightly different. So like Jason said, he's looking for a baby seat. He's not going into Google search. He's going into ChatGPT. He's asking it, then he's going over to Instagram, over to TikTok. So it's all the same, but it's just a bit like that loop the loop. But yeah, like I think if you're able to take those key points, but make sure your persona is in place, that will increase your ranking in terms of what people are searching for online.
Yeah, I like what you just shared too on the negative persona, because a lot of times we all focus on who we want to sell to, but not what makes somebody not a good customer or user. And yeah, so no, I think that can help kind of narrow and strengthen what you're putting out there as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised how many people miss this, Jason, because like we all know, like even if you're like pre-seed, like MVP, like creating a persona is an essential part of building a successful strategy, and they help you understand, what your potential customer is, pain points, etc. But as startups, we always want to sell to people. So you might have too many personas. You create a load of personas, but you can't build the content for them. So you're kind of, I suppose, you're better off doing your team a favor by defining one persona to start with and developing further as you go. So have one core persona to build up from there. And then I suppose there are definitely people we don't want to target. They might not have budget, they may not, I don't know, they may be students based in Ireland, or they might be really expensive to acquire as a customer. So I think identifying these kinds of people, I don't know, maybe it's a better word, like an exclusionary persona as opposed to a negative persona would be a better name. But that'll help you in the long run not to waste time in marketing and selling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I think a big one, and this is the last I'll say, because I know Annie mentioned sales at the start. Personas aren't just for marketing, so that's one of the most common attitudes when creating personas. You're creating persona. It's like a one-off exercise that your team does. But like we discussed in the previous call, like this should be upgraded every few years, and it should be for the entire team, not just for the marketing team. Essentially, it should be for sales, marketing, services, understanding who the persona is. No worries, Amy. Thank you.
I like that. Yeah, this having an evolving persona there, and um, also keeping up with the trends. As that was the part of the emphasis of this as well. Is like everyone was used to a certain way of dealing with marketing, search engines, and now the model's changed, and it it's going to continue to evolve in the AI space too. So keeping up with that as well.
Yeah, and I think, well, I know there's a guy in the last call, and he was like, you catch bees with honey, and that's because bees like honey. But he said, like, imagine trying to sell oranges to a customer on the hunt for apples, and you
Yeah.
think, oh yeah, I could probably sell them a few oranges. Would it be more difficult? Definitely. So like understanding the needs of your customers puts you in a really good place to make a sale or like establish a relationship. So again, like we said, what do you want was the image on the last call. So if a customer is looking for apples, give them apples. And that's it. That's as
Right.
simple. Sorry, I know it sounds like whatever, but like that is the key essentially to getting started. And then the keywords, like you can see, and then, I suppose putting these keywords in the right places, which is the quality of where the content lives. So again, like we said, like people that are looking at GoPro or Red Bull aren't usually looking for stuff on a download. It's probably video, for example. Okay. We have 2 minutes left. Any more questions, guys? Okay,
Just
yeah.
comments that it was super helpful. So really appreciate you taking the time and spending your our morning, your evening here with us, and yeah, excited. I'll share again, the recap for everybody to go back, and some additional links and resources from Kara and the HubSpot for Startups team over the next couple days here. And yeah, always really grateful for your support for our community.
No sweat, Jason. We'll share the winner over the email, if that's okay. We don't want any fights on today's call. But thanks very much for everybody's time. And yeah, if you want to continue the conversation further, feel free to reach out. Just put my email in the chat, and have a great rest of day. And I hope you get some sleep tonight, Jason.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. Ciao, ciao, guys.
Thanks, everyone.